Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima, Book 2, Water. Chapter 7, The Showdown of Captain Blackheart. Jack Thunder broke through the water's surface, shaking his head and tossing droplets of salt water everywhere. The rest of the team followed suit, climbing up on the edge of the deck. Jack Thunder unsheathed Stormbringer from his back and gripped it in his right hand. "All right, Blackheart, where are you? Come on out, you coward." He was met with only the creak of the boat in response. All of Blackheart's crew was down in the water, but where was she? All of a sudden, a frigid gale began to howl. The crew looked up and spotted streaks of black flying through the suddenly stormy skies. The streaks fell from the sky, splattering black fluid on the deck as they began to take shape. The wendigos began to circle them like sharks in the ocean, swirling faster and faster until the team was trapped inside a whirlpool of ebony darkness. All of a sudden, they saw Captain Blackheart. Jack Thunder could already tell she was possessed. If her rusty scales and black fins, a stark contrast to the rainbow of hues the other reef sirens boasted, weren't a dead giveaway, the stream of oily fluid leaking from her mouth onto her front definitely was. Her expression held a look of cold intent. She adjusted the seafarer's cap on her head, which bore the same cracked black heart insignia that the other pirates wore. "Well, well, it seems as though meddlers have come to spoil my raid." "You! Why did you invade the Great Barrier Kingdom?" Buckthorn shouted. "Haven't you heard? The Heart of Darkness is returning, and with it comes the end of Alterus. There's no point in defending this kingdom anymore. Just take what you can and run. At least then you'll stand some chance of survival." "Run? Where to? You know the Earth portals haven't been open since the war. And how do you know Alterus is doomed anyway? Are you thick, young siren? The Fragments of Anima haven't been seen since the War of the Wendigos. Without the Fragments, there is no chance of stopping that monster." "We have the air fragment right here," Jack Thunder butted in, thrusting Stormbringer in Blackheart's face. The rust-colored reef siren reeled back in terror. "Ah! Get that thing away from me!" Just like that, the wendigos were upon them. They pounced on the team and held them in place like gobs of glue. Stormbringer clattered to the ground and slid just out of Jack Thunder's reach. Buckthorn, who had ducked out of the way just in time, ran to the edge of the bow. "I'll get help!" She jumped overboard back into the water. What a shame. Her courage gave out just as she could have saved you. "Doesn't matter to us. We'll get out of here somehow. I still have Stormbringer with me. You and your wendigos can't even touch it," Jack Thunder bluffed. He knew it was a lie. He had seen how the wendigos had tried to grab Stormbringer earlier, but judging by how Blackheart reacted to having it shoved in her face, she sure wasn't going to pick it up. "Why do you fight so hard for this world? Do you really think that a kid like you can defeat the Heart of Darkness?" Jack Thunder's face turned from blue to bright red as he erupted onto Blackheart. "At least I'm trying to do what's right. Unlike you. You learn the Heart of Darkness is returning and you join its side? For what? Some worthless treasure?" Now it was Blackheart's turn to get offended. Jack Thunder yelped in pain as she planted her boot on his back. "You've got some nerve, boy," she snarled. "I oughta..." All of a sudden, Jack Thunder felt the boot lift off his back. Captain Blackheart was hunched over in pain, gripping her ears. To his relief, the black blobs holding him and his team in place had dissolved too. That's when Jack Thunder noticed a familiar melody seemingly coming out of nowhere. "That's it! It's working! Keep singing, guys!" Buckthorn shouted. The entire ship was surrounded by sirens of all colors, and they were all singing their traditional siren melody. The wendigos evacuated the ship, choosing instead to circle overhead like vultures. Jack Thunder acted quickly. He ran over to Stormbringer and grabbed it, thrusting it towards Blackheart. "Fell ones! Destroy this storm gremlin!" She screamed through her pain as she directed the wendigos circling overhead. They moved to obey her command. A wendigo swooped from above and tried to swallow Jack Thunder alive, but he blasted it to pieces using the lightning from his staff. Another grazed his side, but he blew it off to the side with a fierce wind. It tumbled some distance through the air before landing in the sea. Blackheart growled. She wasn't done yet. She drew her cutlass and moved to charge the troublesome storm gremlin. He stepped off to the side as she slipped on a patch of ice and skidded into the mast of the ship. "Nice one, Frosty!" Blackheart got back up and whipped around. She was met with San. The Tengu may have been old and underweight, but he was still the air champion of Alterus. He parried every swing of her cutlass with his arms and wings, bearing many cuts. Wendigos dive-bombed him from every angle, but he beat them back, using his wings to generate a powerful windstorm. Razor, who was perched on his shoulder, shot bolts of purple lightning from his mouth, zapping Blackheart when she got too close. Blackheart fought valiantly, but between fighting the 3 air fairies and Weather Wyvern all at once and the siren song still wafting through the air, she began to tire. Eventually, she fell to her knees, still clutching her head. Hurts. Stop. Jack Thunder moved quickly. He cast the same healing spell he'd used on Terry and Mount Tempest and held steady. Just as he'd expected, Blackheart doubled over and began retching. Viscous black fluid spurted from her mouth as the being that had taken residence inside her fought to get out. When the Wendigo finally came out, it was already quite exhausted from their battle. Its eyes glowed a faint, tarnished gold color. As Jack Thunder banished it, he could see it flying up towards a rift in the sky. But even as the Wendigo flew back into the rift, it did not seal. Strange, Jack Thunder thought. Aren't the rifts supposed to seal when a Wendigo is banished? That's when he remembered. The rifts only sealed when all of the Wendigos had been taken care of. He thought about the Wendigos that had attacked them earlier. They must have gotten away. He sighed. Guess we're gonna have to go back to the islands and look for them. Blackheart coughed. Jack Thunder jumped and pointed his staff at her, still a little jumpy from earlier. Ugh, where am I? She looked up and saw 4 fairies and 1 weather wyvern, all of them staring down at her. Frosty, San, and Razor glared at her in disappointment, while Jack Thunder and Buckthorn just looked a bit worried. That's when she remembered. After she'd heard of the Heart of Darkness's return, she'd fallen into despair. The fragments of Anima had been lost in the war, and without them, she thought, there was no hope. All of her past loyalties fell away. Her only goal was taking whatever was valuable and getting out of Alterus. It didn't even occur to her that there was nowhere for her to go. But now, she had betrayed the nation she had sworn to protect. She said nothing. What was there really to say? What could she possibly say or do to make up for what she did? Hey, are you okay? That was some scuff we had, huh? Blackheart looked up and saw Jack Thunder, the same storm gremlin whose spine she'd tried to crush earlier. She couldn't even look him in the eye. Captain Blackheart. She heard San finally speak. What drove you to betray the nation you swore to protect? All for some of the Great Barrier Kingdom's treasure? Not only that, but you nearly killed my brother, Frosty snapped. Not to mention the rest of us. Suddenly, she remembered something. Something that might start to make up for what she did. I don't ask that you forgive me. But I have something in my cabin that might start to make up for what I've done. Blackheart made her way to her cabin and came back out. What she had in her hand shocked everyone. Is that the sea stone? Buckthorn exclaimed. I found it on the seafloor in this very ocean. I know it's not enough to defeat the Heart of Darkness by itself, but it definitely will help. Oh wow, this is great! Thanks, Blackheart! Jack Thunder cheered. I'll take you all back to the island, too. She took her place at the steering wheel and steered the ship towards the center island of the archipelago. Jack Thunder glanced once again at the rift in the sky. The fight was far from over. Hi there, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like more from our friend Jack Thunder, you can check out my new book series, Jack Thunder and the Fragments of Anima, on Amazon using the link in the description. Or you can head on over to my Teespring and grab a few things from my shop. And please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content every week. Thank you for watching.